Episode 12, CineNerds. I'm James.
I'm JP.
And I'm Ryan.
And today we're doing Ryan's pick, which was?
Heart Huckabees.
Whatever a Huckabee is.
So this is a little bit of a deviation from my standard picks that I've done, because this one's a little more down the mental process, if you will.
Mental is correct.
James is not a fan. I just found this out moments ago before we began filming.
He's like, you had to like it somewhat. You didn't text me, and I was like, no, I texted JP.
But in previous movies that he didn't like, within 30 seconds or a minute in, it's a text to both of us saying this movie's garbage, blah blah blah. And
I wanted to save it for today.
Yeah, well, it's good to save it for today.
My exact text to JP was, "This is the most incoherent movie I've ever watched."
Oh,
to where
no!
Your response was,
"Wait, let me pull it up."
I can't help if I'm working with people who are not intellectuals. That's all.
James wrote, "How many incoherent thoughts are in this movie?" I responded with, "What movie? ? I Heart Huckabee? ? He never responded, so I responded with, "If that's the movie you're talking about, honestly, to me, that movie is the worst movie we have done so far." I didn't like anything about it at all, other than some of the performances were really good. But the movie tries to be artsy and ironic in the most incoherent way I've ever seen on film.
Fair. But do you like Wes Anderson films?
No, not really.
I hate Wes Anderson films. And originally, for a while, I thought this was a Wes Anderson film. And so I was even less likely to watch it. And then my wife convinced me to watch it. And as I watched the premise unfold, I loved it. Let's just, before I even dig into my parts of this, clearly those are some serious initial thoughts. So I'm going to let you guys expand on those. So
I fell asleep twice and just said I'm not going back.
I did not fall asleep. I watched the whole thing start to finish. Now, when the movie started, it started with the I can't remember his name, but the main character. He literally says,
Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah, he literally says "fuck" 50 times within the first minute and a half of this movie.
His name was Albert.
And so that being said, I was like, okay, this movie might actually be a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
I had severely high hopes.
And so at that moment, I was like, this movie's not what I expected. And then from there, it just went downhill. And after that, it was like, the performances were great. It has a great cast.
All the performances were great.
Yeah,
when you see a movie that has Dustin Hoffman, Jude Law, Mark Wahlberg, Naomi
Lily
Watts.
Tomlinson.
Yeah, it's a star-studded thing.
Yeah.
Cast. What the fuck was that?
Yeah, I mean, and that's where I was going. I'm like, the cast.
Like, is this going to click at any point, or like, what is going?
The cast in this is so good,
and it's all going together, and everything's the same, and it's like, what drugs are you on?
Well, gummies help this experience for sure.
You had to be really high to watch this movie and enjoy it.
No, so for me, maybe it was
the
moment.
First time we're completely on the same page.
And that's really weird, because I thought you would have at least appreciated the independent artistry of what was happening.
And actually, I told James that when we talked about this when he showed up before you got here, I said, I understand what Ryan tried to achieve here, and I normally like these really artsy films that are ironic, but this one I fucking hated.
So what I love is that you have literally so let's just summarize the story first of all. Albert, or Jason Schwartzman's character, he is having a moment of crisis and he has no idea how to process life and how it's going. He stumbles upon these therapists or investigators, if you will, who are Dustin Hoffman and Lily Tomlinson, and he signs basically something saying they can peek into every single aspect of his life.
Except for work.
Well, that's what he says, but they don't agree to that. And this thing unfolds. So these investigators are literally every single detail of his life, down to his, and I'll say it, his masturbation habits, his everything you can think of that is something we all deem as personal elements. Their whole spiel is that there is something in everything, that everythingness is crucial in understanding that everything comes together for a solidarity is their process. Now, later in the movie comes in another character who is another investigator who like counters them, where she is like nothingness is her whole vibe, and there's nothing to stress about. There's no consequence. Do what you need to do. Feed your animal instinct. These two are kind of going back and forth in a comedic way, pulling at Jason Schwartzman's character, and then as they start basically unwinding, you find the other actors all becoming part of their investigative process. So they're digging into everyone else's lives, and these other people are finding out shit about themselves that's making them all unravel, all unfold, all become these other people. And I felt there was a real identifiable moment there, because we all go through these things every day in life. And I appreciated it more than anything because, and you know what? Let me tell you why I probably appreciated this more than I should have.
Way more.
My most hated movie of all time is M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening. I think it's one of the worst films I've ever seen. I think he completely screwed over the cast. His direction was just awful and garbage, and especially Mark Wahlberg. I've never seen more painful moments from Mark Wahlberg ever, and he did hip-hop, and that was awful to remember. So, yeah, Funky Bunch was not good. But anyways, seeing him in this movie after that, I was like, okay, this dude can fucking act. This dude can throw down. And the way that it built up, Naomi, her character was just genius too. In the moments where she started wearing this bonnet and she got the shit in her teeth all the time, I started really appreciating every aspect as it started unfolding. Now, where I will completely admit that this movie falls short is my big complaint about Hollywood. Editing. Holy shit, could we have taken out at least 45 minutes of it? I know you guys are going to say the whole thing.
That was my problem. That's why it was so incoherent, because it's like it just kept going, and it's like, what are you even saying at this point? Like, maybe I'm different, because you guys. I mean, look, we know I'm different, but you guys watch movies for way different reasons than I do. I'm watching it to relax for an hour and a half, 2-3 hours, and sometimes I want a movie that's going to make me really think. Most of the time, I'm looking for just fuck off time. This couldn't even be fuck off time for me, because I couldn't even, like, it was like every scene I felt like I was watching the same exact conversation over and over and over.
Well, you essentially were. I mean, every scene was him talking about how he couldn't handle existence, and
that's how I felt watching the movie.
But that's why it's identifiable and why it matters. Now,
it's not, though. I wanted to punch him.
Okay, I got to reference it again, man, because I wanted to punch your home slice in The Party Animal the whole movie, but I didn't. I held on for you. I'm losing on this one. That's fair. I'm not gonna win them all. It's good. It's all right. I appreciated this movie fully, because where you said you're different, completely agree with that, because
I can't even talk about this movie and try to explain it from start to end.
I don't know if I rightly understand it still.
That's the thing. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know. That's why I didn't write you, because I wanted to have this moment so you can just. Sorry. You can just go ahead. Because I really don't even know how to explain it, because you got this crybaby dude who wants to save the planet, which I'm cool with. About a rock.
Open spaces, motherfucker.
And then you've got Jude Law being Jude Law, who plays those kind of parts.
By the way, so Albert has started this coalition, and the coalition is for environmentally sound open spaces, saving them. There's a swamp and a marsh that are the center of this, and in that happening, he's trying to find out who he is. He befriends Jude Law's character, brings him into the coalition. Jude Law essentially takes over this coalition from him, and instead of the spin of Albert, Jason Schwartzman's character, he has this thing with poems. He keeps reading fucking poems that don't make sense. They don't add up. They're just like the movie, according to James.
What was
and
a
me.
Huckabee? What was the Huckabee?
The company.
The company.
It was
That took over?
That was Naomi Watts' the face of I Heart Huckabees, who was.
But why did they want the coalition?
They were funding the whole thing because they needed to come across as more green and less corporate.
I didn't even get that.
I actually got that.
Maybe I was just that annoyed.
That was one of the few things I understood.
So Jude Law is kind of like this corporate guy from I Heart Huckabees who swoops in and steals all of Albert or Jason Schwartzman's thunder, essentially. He takes over. They oust him from the coalition, his own coalition he founded, and he essentially wants to find out what's the point of life, what's going on here, why is this happening. These are the things he's going through, but not what he hires these investigators for. He hires investigators for just finding out about
Coincidences.
Coincidences.
I remember that.
His crisis.
His coincidence.
He kept saying, his coincidence was his. I thought he said his crisis.
No,
everything was a
coincidences.
coincidence.
Okay. Coincidences,
Because
yeah.
he had three coincidences with with the
Manute Bull or whatever.
Whoever that was. Yeah, like, you know, like. I can't even say anything because I don't know what the fuck was happening.
Steven was the doorbell man's name. Yeah.
You know what? My takeaway from this movie, I learned
he was putting pictures of himself in. There was a place to go buy pictures of people,
famous actors. Because Steven, as a doorman of this hotel, he was trying to collect these signatures from these famous people.
But where have you ever seen a store where you can just go buy headshots of?
They're all over. I actually have been to a couple of them
Excuse
in
me?
Florida.
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Some of them have the signed pictures in place there too. I actually met Uma Thurman in one of them, so it was kind of interesting. So
the two things that hit me while I was watching this film.
Your own fist?
Besides that, I think I did bash my head against a wall a couple times.
Party animal.
You know what? At least I laughed during the party animal. I didn't laugh in this movie.
I laughed once, but I don't remember what it was.
I learned that the main guy, Albert,
I laughed more at this.
His real mother is Adrian from Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned that. And then my other takeaway from this film was, as I'm watching Dustin Hoffman, I really wanted to watch the movie Hook.
Because of the hairstyle.
I love Hook.
I love Hook, too.
No, his hairstyle in this is so... It reminded me of Hook. Hook was an amazing movie. You know what? One of the big scenes I enjoyed was when they're trying to find that moment of nothingness, and they have the.
That was the whole movie.
No, that was after they found the other investigator, the alternate side, and they have that fucking what I don't know what they're called, the buoy with the handle on it, the red thing,
the ball with
where they smack themselves in the face just to get a moment of nothingness to feel that. It was I could identify with that.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually thought about trying to find one of those to bring here today, but I didn't have time this morning, and I didn't even know where to even go look.
But then from there, they're hitting each other in the face, and then he leaves with that therapist, and they start like putting each other's face in mud puddles and rubbing mud all over each other, and
fucking.
Then start fucking, and I'm
because
like,
of the
this
nothingness,
is fucking weird.
Because it is. It was
mud,
so weird.
Mud.
You know what
yes!
else? You know what was fucking hilarious is any makeout scene in this movie was intentionally over the top, and they weren't really even touching mouths. It was more like. Don't zoom in on that moment either. That was a rough moment for me. But the way that they're, yeah.
Wasn't there a scene where he was sucking on a male's nipple or something?
What?
A hairy male nipple? I swear.
Yeah.
I remember what you're talking about.
With Jude Law.
Yeah.
And oh my god.
There's so much amazingness in this movie. So happily,
and honestly, when I describe that. Anybody who watches this or listens to this podcast knows my taste in films. Yes, that scene sounds like something that I would enjoy. However, I could accept that.
That does not even. Fuck.
I could accept my flaws in that. However, that scene is not as awesome as it sounds.
It is. I assure you, it is. Listen,
Yes. No.
I'm gonna push this way. Okay, Wes Anderson's one of those people you either love or hate. If you're not a fan of Wes Anderson, you'll definitely hate this movie.
Who's Wes Anderson?
Life Aquatic.
God bless you.
Royal Tenenbaums.
I'm surprised you're not a Life Aquatic fan.
Yeah, I
Never heard
am
of it.
as well.
Really? Because isn't it Bill Murray?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've not watched a lot of Bill Murray movies, like out of the crazy ones like out there that aren't.
Yeah, well, he did start to spiral. That Wes Anderson vibe though is crazy. I don't know. I don't
He's
like
not that old.
I don't like the narrator, old school set aesthetic. It's growing on me because I like the theater dynamic incorporated in the cinema, but it's a little odd. But I digress. If you like Wes Anderson's style of cinematography and you like his movies, I highly recommend you check out Heart Huckabees because you'll appreciate it. If not, you'll hate it.
Me and JP do not recommend.
JP and I.
No, me and JP. Honestly, no. Anything that we watch it. Because here's the thing: I thoroughly 100% believe that Rotten Tomatoes is the biggest bullshit thing ever. Because movies I love get shit on that website, and movies that they think are just so good, I think are trash. And I'm not the only one. I've talked to a lot of friends about this. Like, we've gotten a conversation about this. Like, so I really have a hard time. We are our only critics. In all reality, we really are.
Yeah,
we all like what we like.
It's all likes and
we
tastes.
just sit here and
Taste.
just like to fuck with each other. But in all reality, if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I don't really know what else to say about this movie because I had no idea what the hell was going on. But I'm going to jump to this just because I can say this. I've been waiting for this. According to what I'm seeing here, this movie made $1,000.
Yeah, I don't think this movie made any money.
For sure. But
budget $20 million. Budget 20. Box office 20.1.
I find. Hold on.
With all of those names, though, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, but there's a lot of movies that are like that where people go too artsy and they're not appreciated.
Dude, but I mean, like, that's different if you got like one massive actor. You've got, again, Jude Law, Hoffman, Lily Tomlin,
yeah.
No, Naomi, Wahlberg. Like, Wahlberg wasn't huge at that point, but I mean, you knew who he was. I mean, you were feeling the good vibrations 10 years before that.
So to your point of what this movie made, I blame this on a very fucking creative and intellectual marketing approach that
there was nothing smart about this.
That fell short completely. Like, they missed the mark wholeheartedly. It just wasn't, at the time, wasn't something that people were going to understand. But
still don't. 20 years later, still don't.
Hold on, Tourette's. Huckabees Corporation is one of the corporations in this, right? Open Spaces Coalition, Existential Detectives, and Katrin Vauban. So that's the antagonist, the woman. Nothingness. So each of these, the way they promoted it, the advertising campaign for the film had 4 fictional websites created, and they were portrayed as if they were actual websites involving the characters and organizations featured in the film. And basically at the bottom they had a link to the actual Fox homepage that would take them to the movie itself to kind of push it. So when people are seeing those ads, they're seeing what looks like a corporation, which people probably were like, what the fuck is this? And they didn't take it seriously or at all. So like I said, it fell short of the mark.
Yeah, you know who did that better? Blair Witch.
You know who did a really fucking good job at marketing on that point? Samuel L. Jackson, Snakes on a Plane. I fucking hated that movie, but the fact that he would do the voice with your name, if you could set up a voicemail with him, genius.
You're both looking at me like I have something to say.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say.
Do you know Snakes on a Plane or Blair Witch? Have you watched either of
I
those?
saw Blair Witch in theater.
No, Blair Witch is a garbage movie, but the marketing behind that movie was genius.
I've almost wanted to rewatch it.
Oh, it's trash, man.
Just because I saw it in high school when it came out, and I was like, why are we here?
The only thing that made that movie good was the marketing, because the marketing, they built a website, put all these clips up, and they made you believe that movie was real. That was real footage.
I disagree. Only in the sense of
Ryan's like, I wouldn't fall for that.
No. I disagree about the it being a horrible movie. So only because I do feel it was well ahead of its time. It was definitely one of the front runners of all the shaky screen footage with the camera, all that stuff. one of the first ones that really put it out there. So yes, the marketing did drive it home, but the fact that they did it and they delivered, I was actually okay with that. But as it aged, as all the other people started catching on, doing the same cinematography, stealing from that and building on it, it got...
Well, they were one of the first films that did that style. But you had films like Cloverfield that did it better. You had, and I'm not even a big fan of the series, but Paranormal Activity, they did it 1,000 times better than Blair Witch ever thought about.
I can stand by the first two of those. The rest of them missed the mark completely, and they were so just a cash grab at that point. But the first
Would
two
you ever
were
go
fun.
ghost hunting?
I used to when I was a teenager.
Would you go?
I have something to talk to you guys about that I don't know if I should say on camera.
We'll be done here in about 15 minutes with this one because there ain't much left to
No,
say.
there's tons to dig
There's
into.
not.
We haven't
There
even
is
scratched
not.
the surface.
Oh, we have scratched plenty.
No.
Here, you're gonna have to get these away from me.
Yeah, seriously, I don't want those near me.
Dude, there was like 5 pounds of them when I started this bag.
So
Can't stop eating them.
much to the
This
point.
is really universal.
Much to the point of what you guys were saying, though, a lot of the critics that shit on the film said they were a little thrown off by the existentialism, and that the film seemed unfocused. So you are not alone in your guys' thoughts in that regard. Now, I feel that it was a great exploration and deep dive because, like for instance, Jude Law's character. Seeing him go from Captain Successful, happy-go-lucky, landed the girl, landed the job, driving the car, white picket fence, the whole bit, to a full-out fucking mental breakdown because these guys open up every single aspect of his life. Jude Law comes from a family that's not well off. His character comes from a family that's not well off. His brother has an obsession with geckos, and he tries to take care of his brother, but he doesn't check in on his family that often. The investigators find out about all this stuff, and they start going down the whole thing. And then there's this reoccurring story that Jude Law's character tells about Shania Twain. There's a fixation on Shania Twain in this campaign.
I did like that scene because when they point out the fact that he tells this same joke to everybody he meets, it shows how he has no personality.
He's recycled.
Yeah.
He's basically recycled with everything he puts out there.
The audience gave this a 75%.
Because it's fucking good.
I have no faith in humanity at all.
But
With
that
the
Jude Law moment, though, is awesome because they build up and build up and build up Shania Twain, and you get towards the end of the movie, and this is after Jude Law is like sweaty. He's already gone through. There's been a house fire. Naomi's left him. He's lost his job as head of the coalition. He is literally unraveling, and he goes up. He's in this place where they're doing the big meeting for the open spaces event. Gets to the top floor of the elevator, opens. Shania Twain standing there, and all of a sudden, she just hauls ass on him and starts beating the shit out of him in the elevator. She's like, "I love environment. I love everything. Open spaces mean everything." And she's like going on and on. Loved that moment. I thought it was a good little build up. Didn't expect to see Shania Twain for real in the movie. Probably might have made it better, but
My favorite part, actually.
the ending because it was done.
No, I actually have a part.
Okay.
When he burns the house down, he goes, I burned your jet skis.
I burned your
You
jet
didn't burn
ski.
my house? No, I burned your jet skis. It just continued to the house.
Yeah,
Like, that,
yeah,
that
yeah.
actually was funny.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't trying to burn your house, just your jet skis. I just got the house too. Sorry. All right. Well, this is a 20-year-old movie this year, and it's my first time in 20 years hearing about it, and it's the last time I'm ever going to see it. So.
Jesus.
There's people out there that will like this movie.
I mean, look. I just looked up Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a super high score. You've got Adam Sandler movies that have shit scores compared to this,
Well,
and I'd rather watch Adam Sandler movies because I think
to that point,
people hated Herbie Halloween.
I thought it was great.
I think that's one of his best movies.
all right. I'm clearly I'm out now. There's
I'm not gonna say it was one of his best movies,
level
but it was so
of
good.
fuckery. You can convince me that movie had any elements of anything good. He literally took every character from every movie he's done, and he tried too hard into that movie. Like I couldn't do it.
You know what? the thermos though. The thermos was the best.
That movie,
Whatever he needed at that moment, the thermos was it.
That movie made my son
Go
laugh.
Gadget Thermos.
That's it.
Huh?
That movie made my son laugh, so I was happy about that. That's what I can say positive about that movie. Now, back to Rotten Tomatoes. We always touch on this topic, so I'm going to talk about it again. This doesn't plead for my case of loving this movie with it having a high score, but Rotten Tomatoes is still garbage for
I'm
whatever
at a point
it rates.
where I think everything's faked, so I really just don't trust anything.
What's Rotten Tomatoes' actual score? Not the audience, but the...
Shit. I was just on it. Hold on. Give me a second. I'll tell you.
The critic score.
64. Which is still high.
That's still high.
Yeah.
That's
What?
way high.
But, okay, hold on. Okay, here. Herbie... How do you spell it?
Or Hubie.
Hubie.
It is, yeah.
Hubie Halloween. That... 52-48. I mean, massively lower than this.
What was the audience score?
48. So, but if you go to like, I mean, what do you think the number one? Like, if you hear Adam Sandler, what are you thinking?
Well, Happy Gilmore.
Or Billy Madison.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore. Just a proof point. 62 tomato score. So Gilmore is lower than this movie. Audience score 85, which is higher. That's why I can't take this serious. There's no consistency at all. Because Happy Gilmore... No, I'm just curious. Just going down the 90s...
Were you at Happy or were you at Billy Madison?
That was Happy Gilmore. Biodome. I love Biodome. I don't care what anybody says. 4% tomato. 51% audience score. Biodome was hilarious to me. Billy...
Since we're spiraling here.
So the critics...
Hold on.
Critics really love this.
Encino Man. What's in...
I just typed in Billy Madison. I'll go to that after this. Billy Madison, 40% tomato, 79 audience. Dude, Billy Madison was better than I Heart Huckabees. Come on.
I mean, laughter-wise, yes, but there's a different audience there. It's a completely different style movie. Comedy
I don't
versus...
belong in this world then. What was the other one you said?
Encino Man.
Oh, God, this is a movie that I never want to see again.
Encino Man?
But wait a minute.
And I love Brendan Fraser.
You just told me Biodome. They're the same fucking thing.
You know what it is? I don't find Rudy funny.
Sean Austin?
Yeah, I don't
Or
find him
Aston,
funny.
or-
I liked him in Stranger Things. I like him as an adult actor. I didn't like him as a younger actor.
You
Does that
didn't
make
like
sense?
Goonies?
I saw it once.
I loved him in Toy Soldiers.
Encino Man, 14%.
Oh, yeah. I remember you're talking about.
14% tomato meter. Audience score 56.
When you said, what was the movie you said?
Toy Soldiers?
Toy Soldiers, that's right. I don't know why in my head I put that with Taps. Do you remember the Tom Cruise movie Taps?
Yep.
That movie that was a heart wrencher.
Taps was
I'm
good
done.
too.
Tommy Boy, tomato meter, 39%. Get the fuck out of here. Are you fucking serious?
Different genres. You can't do that.
Suck.
But that should
Eggs.
definitely kick Billy Madison
90%
and all
audience. 90% audience score though.
There you go.
So okay,
So there's some realism there.
one more. Black Sheep.
Yeah.
Oh god, there's a lot of black sheep. It's not even pulling up. It was called Black Sheep, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Not even pulling up. They're like, it's so shitty. We're not.
They
even
didn't even
showing
rate it.
Good God. All right. Well, hey, whatever. What do you give this movie?
We're not there
We're
yet.
not there yet.
We're not
Wait to
there
see
yet.
what you'd say.
So, since I have no clue what this movie was even about, other than
Bunch of whining.
a bunch of whining.
So
By the end of this film, what did you take away from this film on what they were actually trying to convey and what they were telling, the story they were telling? Because I didn't get it.
I took that. Quit being little bitches.
Outside of that,
let me answer it with a question. Did you watch and did you enjoy Seinfeld?
I hated Seinfeld.
Okay, then that makes sense too. So Seinfeld has always been known to be a show about nothing. This movie is essentially also that, but it's also like, so Seinfeld had moments where Man-Hands episode, perfect example of me. He's on a date in the Man-Hands episode, and he's fixated on the size of her hands. He can't stop thinking about the size of her hands. It's to the point where he's ready to stop dating this girl. And they zoom out so that you just see him across the table, and they're on a date, and all of a sudden this giant puppet hand comes in out of nowhere getting food off of his face, and it just scratches the side of his face. I lost my shit because that's a real moment for me where I feel like our Austin Powers, moly, 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 those moments. That was Seinfeld to me in a nutshell. Now, this movie kind of had those same moments where, yes, no, a lot of this won't relate, but most of it is relatable on a personal level. It's not trying to really drive home a message. It's just saying that there's unknown variables in life, things happen, and these people were the people that were pointing out these things for me. So I, especially when you deconstruct somebody, like the Brad character, seeing him deconstructed.
He fell apart.
Yeah, I mean, just when you're put face to face with who you really are, that's fucked. I mean, you really have to understand yourself, and if you don't understand yourself and you're hiding a lot or masking, that's where you go.
I get that. I can see that. It doesn't make me like the film any better, but
Fair.
it does paint a little bit of a different idea of the movie for me.
That's it. It just paints a little bit different movie for
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of it.
James is over here going down the Wikipedia rabbit
No,
hole.
I'm on Rotten Tomatoes.
I did read.
I'm looking up Austin Powers now. You got me thinking. And the first one had the highest score.
Austin Powers.
Gold member, 53 tomato, 44 audience.
I did read one thing on this movie because I always kind of try to find little random facts, and most of the facts on this movie were pretty basic. But one was that originally Charlize Theron was going to play the character that Naomi Watts played.
That would have been great. I do like Naomi Watts, though.
Yeah. I can't remember what it said on why she didn't, but that was one I read. Another one was kind of something a little amusing. The theaters that this movie did go to, the Heart Huckabees, a lot of the theaters were putting up "I love Huckabee" on the marquee because they
Didn't have a heart.
didn't have a
symbol,
heart,
yeah.
and they didn't realize that it was to type write heart out. So they just put love, so "I love Huckabees."
So, one of the things, too, that I happened to notice in those is a person who absolutely hated it and saw that it had no meaning. Their takeaway from it was that they couldn't stop thinking about it. And so on Reddit, they posted a whole thread about the philosophical approach to it and what it means to them now. Now they've had that deep dive because originally they hated it. They completely hated it, and they did the philosophical approach, and now it's got relevance to them, and they like it. So to me, I think that was one of the things that I also liked about this movie is if I watch a movie, any movie, and afterwards I'm thinking about the movie continually after I've seen it, not in a negative way. If I like a movie and I think about it, then it's delivered the point that it's supposed to deliver. So it resonates with me in that regard. You and I watched a movie recently that had almost zero dialogue about the aliens invading the Earth. It was on Hulu, I think. Oh my gosh, it's going to bother me. There was one girl in it. The aliens came down. Everyone they took everyone. They had these little marks on the lawn.
Did I watch this?
You and I both watched it because we talked about it afterwards. It was essentially it was an alien invasion scenario.
There's not much shit he watches. He doesn't even remember what he's watched.
But there was like no dialogue to it. There's maybe 3 lines the whole movie. So
I don't remember this.
So
Willy's
long.
Wonderland.
What's that?
Willy's Wonderland.
But that movie, to me, after I saw it, because I was still thrown back that there's only 3 lines of dialogue, I was like, God, now that I really think about it, that was almost a perfect science fiction film. Like, it was so well done and well delivered that I was...
Now I want to know what movie I watched that we talked about.
Let me see if I can dig it up here.
So, talking about kind of artsy films, one that came out during, I believe it came out during the pandemic, that I thought was incredible, that had kind of something to say in the kind of an artsy kind of way, was Don't Look Up.
No One Will Save You.
I never watched that.
You and I talked about it. Yes, you did.
No, we didn't. You sure
I
you didn't think of
swear it was
somebody
you.
else?
Yeah, because you commented when I shared it. You commented on the thing. So.
Oh.
Oh, no, you know what? You said you had it in your queue. That's what it was. I do remember that now. So you didn't watch it yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Don't Look Up. Did you ever watch that one?
No, I watched Falling Down.
Don't Don't Look Up, I watched, but that's a Peel film, isn't it?
Mm-mm.
Which?
This is that comedy where there's an asteroid coming to destroy the Earth. And
yeah. Okay, that was a Netflix
basically,
thing.
the government's telling everybody, don't look up, because they want to keep them brainwashed.
Yeah. No, I do remember that one. That one's a little different. That had the comedy aspect. The No One Will Save You was more of a actual alien invasion happening. One girl's story during that invasion while it's happening. And
No, I'm talking about more of an artsy film that was kind of like the style of movie where we just watched.
And that Don't Look Up film, was that I hope I'm not mixing up films. Is that the one where at the end some of the leaders escape on a ship and they go to another planet and they get off and then they meet the creatures on the planet?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
It was kind of funny.
I kind of want to revisit it now.
Now,
I think isn't it Brad Pitt that's in it? There's a bunch of big names in it.
Yeah, there is. A lot of it's more like guest spots.
Yeah.
Cameos.
Cameos. I'm sure that works.
Big word. Cameos.
Guest spots.
So what's your rating?
Oh, are you ready for that now?
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
I'm first.
You're first.
Negative 8.68.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to be a complete... The story was trash. But I do agree with you. The acting was great. Like, I don't feel anyone did a bad job in the movie. I don't feel like anybody played their character terribly. I just think the actual dialogue and script made no sense. I don't know. I actually give the actors more credit because they memorize lines and not even having... There's no, like, context to, like, what they're trying to put together there, but they did it. I mean, Dustin Hoffman's already a weirdo as it is, and his part was really weird. So he was perfect for that. I'll give it a 1.7.
Jesus.
5.2.
So you actually like this movie better than The Party Animal?
This one better? Yes. I'd still rather watch this over The Party Animal.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're both at the bottom of the barrel, believe me. I plan on never watching either of them again.
So I agree with everything he said, except for the fact that this is better than The Party Animal. I stand by what I told James earlier, which was this is the worst film that I feel that we have watched as of yet.
This and The Party Animal can both be kicked to the curb.
I'm going to give it a 1.5. Nerds.
All right.
4.7.
So, as I deep dived and rethought this, by the way, this is my fourth watch of this. As I deep dived and watched this and understood it, one of my big takeaways is what James just said. Specifically, Dustin Hoffman and Mark Wahlberg. I think their ability I'd be curious to see what amount of improv was actually happening with the lines being said back and forth and their reactions. But the genuine reactionism, because Dustin Hoffman's whole intent of investigating, he'd see something and all of a sudden be like, oh, and you get noises or you get a face tick or smile like he was onto something but he wasn't alluding to it, and you kind of had to try and understand his mindset. That stuff all came together very nicely for me. The deconstruction of people's lives to build them back up also sat with me well. 3.5 nerds is what I gave this.
So I read this.
I bet you do.
I
knew we weren't done.
Opened in limited release October 1st, 2004, earning 292,177 and ranking number 24 on the weekend's box office. The film was granted a wide release 3 weeks later on October 22nd, earning $2,902,468, ranking 10th at the box office. At the end of its run, the film grossed $12,785,432 domestically and $7,286,740 overseas for a worldwide total of $20,072,172. I can't get over the fact that if you have that many big names, you have Hook, and you couldn't pull. You barely could scratch plus.
I think the marketing fell short on this one wholeheartedly.
Well, I don't think
the script fell short.
I don't think there was much marketing for this film.
There was. It was all confusing because people thought they were actual corporations. Like they didn't understand that was supposed to be a promo gimmick.
Next.
Oh.
Where can they find us, Ryan? Where can they tell us what to pick next?
3cinenerds@gmail.com is our email. Please email us any suggestions, any thoughts, anything you got for us.
Give us
We're
thoughts.
Yeah, we'd love to hear.
We need to think.
We want to know your thoughts on I Heart Huckabee.
Oh, I think a lot of people appreciate it. I'm just
I
saying.
think you need to put a post up saying, please go watch this. We want to know your thoughts. and
Anyways,
prayers.
if you go to our
Thoughts and
Facebook
prayers.
bio, you can see our link tree, which shows you all of our places to hear and see our podcast, as well as our merch store. So please go check it out, and I'll let JP do the sharing is caring part.
Hey, give us a share, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe. Anything we post, please share it. Invite your friends. You can invite your friends to our YouTube channel. Invite them to the Facebook. Any little bit helps us. So yeah, James.
I got nothing this one.
CineNerds out.
Bye-bye.
Later.